It was already past midnight. The night was more quiet than a graveyard. The drunkards could not be heard in the neighborhood. The crickets must have been tired of making unfruitful noise, and the dogs that barked simultaneously the entire night must have been scared away and gone to their hideouts. And since the night was more cold and chilly than any other in a decade, I was on bed, shaking like a young African man being driven to a river to face the circumciser's knife. The sleep, however, befell on me more than I expected. I therefore found myself deep in this beautiful dream. A dream that was so sweet and enjoyable, such that I prayed for it to continue the entire night and in the weeks to come. I was in this beautiful and huge church, ready to marry a girl of my choice, a girl that I wish to be beside me for the rest of my life. Her beautiful face made me keep on smiling at her. At one time, I felt like hugging her even before we exchanged our vows. The presiding pastor seemed to take long to conclude the matter, and for that case, I felt like kissing her soft, tasty lips even before we were declared a wife and a husband. She was more beautiful than Ihuoma, the beautiful Nigerian woman who was married to two husbands, more beautiful than Juliet in the Romeo and Juliet set-piece books, more beautiful than Kenya's televangelist, Pastor Natasha of Pepe TV, who has given men all over the world sleepless nights. I was eager to graduate from the bachelor's life and join a more respectable class of married men. Being called a father was my priority agenda. I was tired of being burnt by hot sufurias, tired of eating tasteless and salty food, tired of urinating on my bed, tired of taking a shower once in a week, and tired of this loneliness life where I kept on talking to myself like a madman day and night. And here I was with my beautiful princess standing right in front of me. The queen of my heart kept on smiling at me. She was eager for the evening to come so that the two of us can get into the football pitch where a game with no boundaries and no referee is played. At the same time, I kept on admiring her soft tasty lips, which had been applied with pink lipstick. At one point, I found my dry and ugly lips moving towards her. Please, darling, stop it. Why are you not ashameful? Why don't you respect this day? It's better for us to wait for the pastor to give us direction. She must have resisted my kiss, Before I felt this jealous pastor forcing himself between the two of us. It was at this moment that far away from the church, I heard people scream for help. I heard mothers and fathers cry in pain for their murdered children. I was therefore torn between getting married and having an enjoyable life, or simply sacrificing my own life for the sake of our motherland and for the survival of our own children who were being hunted for blood by the killer squad. And since I valued Kenya more than my own life, I valued our black soil more than the marriage which was to take place. I respected our own children more than the bright and enjoyable future that I was expecting. I had no business with this young and beautiful girl who had refused to kiss my ugly and dry lips. And for that case, I just left her in the hands of the jealous pastor, either to marry her or look for another man for her. And since the road to freedom is rough and tough, it was not far away from the church that I found these Kenyans talk about the blood-sucking vampires. It was so shocking to listen to them. Others were talking about being hunted by the ghosts of the cemetery. The ordeal was so painful. And as I was listening to them, I found myself standing on human blood, the blood of our own innocent children who had been butchered like animals, the blood of our sons and daughters whose life and future had been shattered by our own countrymen. She is dead. I mean, my daughter, my only daughter, my only hope is dead. They killed her before putting her body in a sack in an inhuman way. An already irritated woman from the crowd cried out at me. She must have cried the whole day. Her eyes could not produce any more tears. Her mouth was completely dry. She must have gone for a couple of days without eating or drinking anything. She just held my hand and led me to an unknown place before I found myself in the city mortuary. Oh, no, 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 it can't be. The already emotional woman cried out as she watched her daughter's dead body before I told her to shut up, not to awake or anger the already departed souls. Yes, it was here on the floor of the city mortuary that her daughter's body lay. I just looked at her, closely looked at her. Then the mother, back to the daughter again. Then the mother. Yes, they resembled each other. They were a mother and a daughter. A mother whose only hope had been stolen. A daughter whose life and dream had been shattered. And a daughter who had been harvested before maturity. I once more stared at her. Yes, it was so painful to look at her. Her tongue told it all. She died in pain. She died in agony. She must have pleaded with her killers to spare her life and soul, but they remained deaf and dumb. Yes, our blood soil had been dirtified by the blood of our own innocent children. We were not only killing the future of our children, but also the future of our motherland. Our ancestors, though departed from us, we are not happy with us. As I left the mortuary, I was fully informed. I was no longer in Kenya. Our motherland had either been exchanged or sold to the blood-sucking vampires. And as I wondered why in the current Kenya, brothers are seen rising against brothers, brothers rising against their own sisters, sisters rising against their fellow sisters, sisters rising against their blood brothers, parents rising against their own children, children rising against their biological parents, and the government rising against its own citizens. I was informed the parliament and the Senate had already put a rope around Gashagua's neck, and they were busy suffocating him. A grave had already been dug out in preparation for Gashagua's burial. The lawmakers, the people whom we trusted so much, the people who could not listen to us, could be heard singing funeral songs in preparation for Gashagua's final journey. And since nobody could claim to be safe in Kenya, I decided to call our founding father, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, so that I can inform him how Kenyans have already been taken captive in their own motherland. But even before I did it, I realized Mzee Kenyatta will not only slap me hard on my face, but will angrily shout at me, Stop being cowards. Rise up on your feet and defend your honored motherland. Be your brother's keeper. They were such challenging ones. At the same time, I decided to call Mzee Moi. But even before I did it, I realized Moi was not happy with us, even on the day he departed from us. Similarly, I decided to call Mzee Kibaki so that to inform him how corruption has killed the economy that he built. But even before I did it, I feared Mzee Kibaki will not only call me Mavia Kuku, but I feared Mama Ruse Kibaki might listen to our conversation and come for my neck. As I was about to say enough is enough, enough of killing our own Gen Zs, enough of killing our own blood, enough of killing the future of our motherland, enough of killing the descendants of Mau Mau veterans, enough of datifying our own reputation and integrity. I remembered our immediate former president, Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta, was still here with us. And for that case, I decided to check on him so that the two of us can discuss about the terror being met on Kenyans, the crucifixion of democracy in Kenya, the ruining of our own economy, undermining justice, and silencing Kenyans from all walks of life. But even before I did it, I realized the many days that I was hiding behind the toilet. Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta was reported to have locked himself in a fringe, crying and screaming for help. My dear brothers and sisters, it is a high time that all of us rise to our feet and defend the honored motherland that we have. No matter how much blood we are going to shed, no matter how many lives we are going to lose, no matter how many graves will be dug for us, and no matter how many Kenyans will be forced to disappear. I am standing before you, hoping that I am at the right place with the right thinking people. People who value one another. People who value our motherland. People who are ready to suffer for the sake of the less fortunate in our society. People who are ready to say no to the victimization of our own children. People who respect our own constitution, and the people who are not ready to give a damning room to the blood-sucking vampires. If a seat will be reserved for me there, I will enjoy being with you. But remember, the path that you and I have decided to take might be slippery, rocky, dangerous, and therefore difficult for us to walk. If we are not well equipped, getting to our destination and achieving our own goals might be a nightmare. If there is need be, I am ready to join in the fight, in the challenge, in the prayers, in the lifting of Kenya in the hands of God. and in celebrating our own victory. The same God who has delivered victory upon me will walk with you and deliver the same to you. If not the case, I am ready to go back to the shrines of death, where pain, agony, and depression is killing Kenyans, and where Kenyans are dying quietly with no one to fight for them. May God bless you, people. May God bless our dear motherland. Amen, amen, amen.